Hi, I'm Alane Freund. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in Northern California and an international consultant on high sensitivity. I host the Are You Highly Sensitive live webinars twice a month, and sometimes I have a special guest, and I'm about to have one of my favorite special guests. This is April Snow. She's also a licensed marriage and family therapist and host of, what would you call it, the host, April, of the Highly Sensitive Therapist Facebook group and retreat.
So I'm the facilitator of both of those. Yeah, thank you.
And the founder, really. So, April, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to be together on July 10th talking with HSPs about boundaries. Yes. And I know this is a topic near and dear to your heart as well as mine. But I thought we should start by just introducing you and letting people get to know you from this community, even though so many already do. I can't even remember when we first met. Do you?
Yeah, I actually have a really vivid memory. It's more of me meeting you and maybe you meeting me later. My wife and I went to an HSP weekend at 1440 Multiversity in Santa Cruz. And it was my first time seeing you speak. And I remember it so well because it was the most impactful part of the weekend for me is when you gave your presentation about horses and self-care. Oh, yeah. And then also weaved in the concept of speaking volumes, right? Letting our needs be known and realizing that other people can't read our minds, especially as HSPs. And that really touched me and stayed with me, and it helped me conceptualize how I can actually use my voice to get my needs met. And then at some point we met later on at some events and have since gotten to know each other and do events together.
Yeah. That was, I've been trying to, Elaine really liked that presentation too. And I've been trying to recreate it. It's never been as good since the first time.
There was a magic to it. It just stopped and I was like, this is so beautiful. And seeing the images of the horses and how they embody self-care without any guilt or question. They welcome it.
They just are.
They just are.
They are living in it. And, we always say the horses are always where their feet are. And I think we HSPs, if we were where our feet are, we would know in every moment exactly what we need.
That's right.
So, April, you're relatively newly licensed, yet it feels like you've been doing this work for a long time. How did you learn you were highly sensitive and get involved?
Yeah, when I was in graduate school to become a therapist, I was doing a research project on introversion and attachment. And I was really diving deeper into my introversion and trying to understand myself more because I knew there was something different about me. Yeah. And then a friend from graduate school said, have you heard about Elaine Aaron's work? And I was like, I've never heard of this. And so I went down this rabbit hole and I was like, this is it. This
is me, right?
This is me. This is a piece that I've been missing because it wasn't just about being an introvert. There were so many other layers to my experience about how I felt deeply, and I got excited about things, and I, very existential, thinking about life's bigger questions. And then starting off as a therapist it was 2015. Within that first year, I really wanted to focus more on the trait and my work, and my supervisor at the time was like, go for it. I know a lot of people were saying, no, you need to be broad at the beginning. I was like, no, I know this is what I want to do. And it's been so impactful for me, and I want to share that with others. So I've been able to specialize from the start. And at this point, 100% of my clients are HSPs. They reach out to me for that specifically to do that work.
Tell me your tagline for your therapy website, Expansive Heart. And you say therapy for?
Highly sensitive introverts, perfectionists, and high achievers, people that really struggle with boundaries and prioritizing themselves.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually, I work with a young girl who it fits all those labels. And I think that was me as a young girl and probably you as a young girl. And I think, these youngsters really do need to be understood. Yeah. It's such important work and imagine what it's like for them to find your website and those three things listed together. Like, I mean, what did it mean to you to identify those things about yourself? Well, wait, let me say before you answer, a lot of us kind of just think of ourselves as wrong or as freaks or as messed up before we come to that place. So with that kind of a worldview before, What's the transformation like in you and your clients?
I mean, that's exactly it. You know, whenever clients come to me, they read my website or some of my blog posts, and like, this is me. You know, finally you're speaking my language. I feel like someone understands me, because I grew up feeling so misunderstood as a child. I didn't see other people like me, and maybe there were other sensitive people in my life, but they weren't embracing that or expressing it or talking about it. So I felt weird. I felt different. You know, when I think about boundaries, when even today setting a boundary, I have this dialogue in my head that questions it.
Yeah.
Hear the voices of people saying, this isn't okay. You should push yourself. You should do something different. You should be like everybody else. But, you know, as you and Elaine have talked about in a lot of your talks, this world was designed by the other 80%.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of reclaiming that needs to happen to embrace ourselves as HSPs and honor those needs. And so finding out about the trait, it gave me permission. It gave me permission to be myself. And as I like to call it, you know, live on my own terms, live outside the box.
Yeah.
From the majority.
So I love that. I have one more question for you in this quick conversation. I feel like you do a lot. I feel like you produce a lot of work. And I think other HSPs would like to know how.
I get this question so much. So much I get this question. You know, part of it is I'm doing work I love. I think that's a big indicator. You know, in my clinical work, I've seen clients doing work that is not meaningful, is overstimulating. It takes a lot of energy. But when you do work you love and that feels like it's in alignment, it's more effortless. So that's one piece, is feeling in alignment with the work that I'm doing. Another piece is I'm very organized. So I create a lot of systems. I have help. I delegate a lot. My wife is very supportive of me. I have administrative help. So it's just being okay to ask for help and support and not have to do it all. You know, that's the perfectionism piece coming in. So many years I was like, I've got to do it all. I've got to be perfect or I'm not good enough.
Right. I know that.
So I've learned to let that go.
That's hard. I think you bring up a really important point about sort of designing your team, your support network. I mean, it might be part of your support is sort of your yoga teacher and your meditation, your spiritual teacher and all that kind of stuff. But we also need other kinds of support people. And I think sometimes it's hard to make that decision. I just did a whole webinar on Elaine Aron's new book, The Highly Sensitive Parent. The main theme of that book is get help.
Right.
Do whatever you have to do to get help.
That's it.
And, you know, we're parenting ourselves, being adults out in the world and working. And I think we still need to get help, however that might look.
Absolutely. Take care of that younger part of ourselves and our present adult self. And I like to say, like, you have to wring out your emotional sponge, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's journaling, yoga, therapy, connecting with friends, and then fill your bucket back up with things that are really meaningful to you. Not just doing like basic self-care, like going to a movie or going for a run, but, you know, doing art, meditation, being in nature, being with animals, whatever that, you know, is for you that really fills you up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your leadership among highly sensitive people. It means a lot. And, you know, I've got you beat in the age way by a couple decades, and I'm always in awe of all the good work that you're doing out there. So thank you for showing up and being your introvert HSP self in such a public way.
I know. Thank you, Alane. I mean, you're obviously carrying the torch and picking up this work for the next generation, and I hope that I can do the same.
Absolutely. Let's go. Go, girls.
Yeah, ready.
Go, HSPs. Thank you so much, April.
Thank you, Alane.